Hello guys, and welcome to part 3 of the quick introduction to the multipass system in Octane Render for Cinema 4D. In this one, we'll talk about Render Layer. It is a system that allows you to isolate and render 3D objects with transparent background in order to composite them later over a plate of live footage or a still image. In this example, I want to show you how we can take our objects and composite them over an image I've prepared. To do this, we'll need a couple of helper objects. Let's start by creating a background, move it at the bottom, and apply the image I've prepared. If we now press render, nothing happens, and the reason is that the background object and the render layer system actually require an alpha channel to be enabled. Please consider I have adjusted the camera in my composition to roughly match the perspective seen in the image. The next helper object I wish to utilize is the floor I prepared. Let's enable it and render. It will be used to capture shadows and reflections. Unfortunately, at the moment it is textured in white, and this color shows up in the reflection of our objects. This will potentially compromise the realism of the final result, so we need to remedy this. What we can try and do is assign a material, but first let's disable the object. So what we can do is create a material, call it floor, and assign it to our floor. From that point on, you have two options: either sample a color from the surface, enable the floor and render, and you can see that the shadows and the reflections are now far more realistic. Another way is to actually camera project the image over the floor, thus getting 100% realistic reflections. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's reset this color and apply an image texture node to the diffuse channel. Click it and assign the very same image we used for the background object. I'll copy the URL like so and paste it inside the image texture node. The next step is to click projection, texture projection, perspective, import the camera that you wish to project from, change the position to world space, and as you can see, unfortunately our projection is reversed. To solve this, I'll apply the UV transform shader and apply a rotation of 180 degrees in Z. Let's go back to the projection node and adjust the scale of the projection. To something like that. If you want to double check if the projection actually worked, you can create a new camera, select it, hide our panels for a second, and navigate around. And certainly, we got a nice texture projection. Let's go back to the original camera. And now we have 100% realistic reflections. The next step is to match the lighting. We can do that with an HDRI environment. Inside the image texture, I want to use the very same image we used so far, so I'll paste it When using the HDRI setup, it is important to know that if we are using an HDRI image, the gamma will remain 1. If, however, we are using a JPEG, it is a good idea to set the gamma to 2.2. Let's go up a level and probably increase the power to something like 3 and add a rotation of 0.3. Let's bring our panels back up